as you can see, I probably need an engineer. Alright, here we go, y'all. It's probably a little loud, right? Welcome to BC and DC, everyone. I believe this is episode 19, and thank you all for listening, as usual. And this episode is brought to you by The Burn. Please listen to Brad and The Burn online radio every Friday night on 93.7 Kurt FM. And I did bring his phone number this time, so if you have any requests for Brad at The Burn, you can hit him up at 541-241-6598, and he'll take your requests and play them Friday night on the radio for you. So anyway, again, this is Michaela Marie, and speaking of her, I need to thank her mom, because my wife reminded me when she listened to 17 recently that she noticed that Val left some comments on there on a Libsyn, their website, and the funny thing is I wasn't able to see it on my computer for some reason. It kept saying I didn't have any comments, but apparently hers was on there. When I found it on my phone, I did, and it made me feel bad that I didn't see it. So Val, to you, sorry I didn't see that sooner, and I'll thank you in person too, but I figured I'd thank you on here because honestly you've been supporting me so much that you know, I'm truly thankful for your friendship, and I feel like I have an older sister, and I feel like someone that just cares about me, like from that point of view. It's nice. Speaking of which, it's just kind of one of those things, like I'm getting used to you know, doing things motivated by good rather than by bad, in a sense. So like I used to do things to prove people wrong, or if they said I couldn't do it, I would just show them I could because I was angry they said I couldn't, and that was my motivation. And so now with the motivation I'm getting now from my wife or Val or Andy or my ex-girlfriend Angie or Wendy or all my ex-friends, or not ex-friends but ex-schoolmates, becoming new friends again, whether it's Chuck Mosier, or which I used to know him as Charlie, so I guess he goes by Chuck now, and of course you know, Brad that I'm becoming friends with now, and of course Darren Comstock. He's been a big supporter, and so all you guys supporting me, it's been a different thing for me to use that as motivation rather than saying I can't do it. You guys are saying I can do it and I should, so thank you. But at the same time, it's weird. So yeah, I definitely wanted to say thank you to Val, and that she's been a huge part of this thing, as I stop her daughter's song and then I cough. Anyway, yeah, it's just something that has been, I don't know. I mean, I should be used to it because my wife's been supporting me now for 20 years. And, yeah, but I still always use that angst of other people and kind of fighting against. And now I have quite a few people in my corner. And it's a new feeling. So, I'm going to try, like I said, this is like kind of I don't know what I'm doing here as far as this one on this format, and I'm trying to make it a little shorter and get it on YouTube for you guys. That's why I'm recording again with my camera, and also obviously doing the audio. You know, you guys, if you guys have listened faithfully, I've talked about my friend Ted. That's not his real name, but the funny stories that I've told and stuff like that about him. But I think he might be going back to the big house again, and that's not funny. It's not funny at all. And I don't know, I feel really bad that's happening to him, that, you know, whoa, there's a burp. Anyway, that he I think he was trying to get it right, you know, And that's the thing about our system is like, once you get caught in it, once you're on the bad side, it's very hard to get out of it. You know, even when you're, you know, after you served your time or whatever, and you're serving community service and you're paying your fines and you're seeing your probation or parole officer, whoever, and you get a job. Well, you know, if the cops know you, they'll still follow you and see if you make a traffic violation. Or if you're not supposed to be driving, they'll definitely pull you over and give you a ticket, and all you're trying to do is go to work. And it's just they constantly harass you, and it's like you never get away from it. Because I dealt with it, and woe is me, right? I mean, yeah, you're a criminal and you deserve to be looked at differently, but at the same time, not forever. And especially if you're actually trying to improve your life, then you should be given a chance and not be just an easy victim for them to give a ticket and another person to put in jail. So I feel really bad. But with that being said, I thought about something he had said to me years and years ago. We were probably, oh my gosh, I don't know, teenagers, because we, you know, it was during puberty. And I remember him coming to me this one time. He's like, dude, I got to talk to you about something. It's real serious. Fucking real serious, dude. I'm like, all right. What is it? And he's all, dude, seriously, you can't tell anybody. It's between you and me. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. It's all good. And he's like, oh, you know how we talk about, like, you know, the drapes matching the curtains and all that kind of stuff with girls? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, dude, like, is that, like, the truth or whatever? I'm like, I think so, you know. And he's like, oh, shit. I'm like, what's going on, man? And he's, well, dude, seriously, because, like, you know, is yours, like, matching? And I'm like, I don't know if it's matching, but it's very similar. And he's just, he's like, oh, fuck, dude. He's like, cause, dude, my pussy hair is black. And I was like, wow, if your pussy hair, as you say, it is black, then you have a lot more problems than I thought, because I thought you were born a male. And he just immediately was like, dude, you know what I mean? And because he was blonde and his pubes were black, and I think he did have a junk. I never checked it out, but I'm pretty sure it was there because he had kids. It was just too funny that he got so caught up in trying to describe it that he gave himself a vagina. But that was my friend. He just didn't, well, obviously, since he's going, I think, I'm not for sure, but if he's going back to the big house, he doesn't think things through. It's just upsetting, you know, because he's not like he's a horrible person. You know, most of his crimes are drug related, or then thereafter traffic violations and driving while suspended a lot, and then they just tack on all these other charges, and there he sits in the cell, caged animal. It's weird to think about, you know, someone I ran around with as a kid is now sitting in a fucking cage. I don't know. It's upsetting. Anyway, yeah. So, like I said, I'm trying to like figure out a new format to make these shorter. So, I didn't think of. I was gonna cover fear, like I said in the last one, but I'm still kind of pondering more about that and how it involves every aspect of our human lives, from the beginning of humanity to now. That we're a fear-based animal, and that's basically what we do. Most of our actions are based upon that. Anyway, I got more to think on it, I think. So, I was talking to the wife last night, and I'd mentioned to her before, and she remembered that I was like, hey, you know, there's this thing that's been floating in my head for a while, years now, probably like a decade. I don't know if it's supposed to be a speech or a poem or what it was, but it was just something in my head, and the words were, I have something to say. And I know there's a song, like a Metallica song, that it was a remix of someone else's wrote the song, but that's a bit of a different type of song that I'm thinking of, or lyric-wise, for sure. So if you know what that song is, it's like it's not all what I pictured in my head, or more like Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech. It's not on that level, but just more on a personal level. So when I mentioned it to her last night, I was like, yeah, it just keeps ringing over in my head again, and these different things I want to say. And then she's like, well, why don't you write it down? And I was like, all right. So I did. And I figured I'd read it to you guys. And it's definitely, I wrote it in poem form, and it wasn't exactly what I was thinking. Over the years, some of those things just escape me, and I forget what I wanted to say, and maybe they'll come to me later, and they probably will. Hopefully I can read all my own handwriting here. But bear with me, and I'll just read you my little poem that I wrote last night. So it starts out as, I have something to say, or at least I think I do. I do not think I'm better than you. In fact, I don't like myself all the way through. Do you remember when you were young, before the innocence went away? Through all the pain of yesterday, I still stand here today, because I have something to say. You can leave the past behind, but you can't erase your mind. You can escape the abuse, but will you stop abusing yourself? Today is a new day. Be a beacon for others, or be beaten. Show a new path, or become an epitaph. Today is your day to share your wisdom through pain, because I think you also have something to say. And I think what I meant by that last part, when I said, I think you have something to say, was I was realizing as I was writing this, that it's not just my poem. It may be my words, but they're your words too, I think, if you come from the same place. In the sense that no matter what it is you've been through, and at a certain age we all go through something. So then our words start having more value then. Because if you're still here after that, that means you gain wisdom. That means you gain something from that. And it'd be a pity for you not to share that wisdom. And not to say that everyone that I know, everyone that I meet should be a guest on my podcast or start their own podcast or whatever it is. But find a way to share your story. And I know it's one of those things of like, I found it myself, like it's hard at first to be vulnerable. But the more you do it, the easier it is. And the more releasing it is. Talking about my damage, talking about my molestation, talking about my abuse and so on has strengthened me, oddly. Because like I said, it takes some of the pain away. And, I hear a lot of people talking about, leave your past behind. And you can't focus on the future if you're always dwelling on the past. Well, I guess I strongly disagree. I think until you deal with your past, you don't have a future. Because your past is always going to kick your ass. So until you deal with your past, you don't have a future, is my opinion. I think you're going to be living in your past because you're stunted by your past. And therefore, until you deal with your past, you're kind of stuck. And there's been parts of me that felt like I've been stuck. And the more I deal with it, the more I feel less stuck. The more I feel like I can see a future. I was the type of person that, when I was a teenager, I didn't think I was going to live into my 20s. And then when I was in my 20s, I for sure didn't see myself living into my 30s. And so now that I'm 46, I'm like realizing that I've been through a lot of shit. Not to like sit there and play that role, because I don't like that shit. But just knowing that you can get through it, whoever you are, I guarantee it. And once you do, make sure you share it, with others. And about the past, like, do deal with it for sure. Don't pretend like it didn't happen, or don't just put